Hello, welcome back to Desert Gardening with Dustin. Today we are going to harvest some celery seed. I have a patch of celery here, it's heirloom. So I've had celery here for a couple of years, and I have some of it going to seed and some of it that's not quite ready, and then some of it that's pretty green. And anyhow, so I'll kind of show you what to look for so you know when to harvest it. Obviously the mostly green stuff here hasn't gone to seed, but then you see some here that has gone to seed. And if we look at things here, so this one for example, you can see how dark brown the seeds are. So when they start to get pretty dark brown, that's when you know that they're ready. Anyhow, this plant has quite a few seed heads, a lot of seed heads that are ready. That tall plant there has a lot that's ready, but this one here is not ready yet, because if you look at some of the seed heads and stuff, I don't know if you can tell real easily right now or not, but a lot of them are green and just turning brown. They're not dark brown yet, so they're not quite ready. But a couple of these other plants are, and celery seed is pretty small, pretty fine, so I will clip some of these and we will start separating the seed. Now I'm getting a bucket full of seed, or at least part of the plant that the seeds are still on, and we'll need to take the seeds off in a minute here. So when I put them on the table, you can see that they're very dark, and usually what we got to do, they don't always want to separate from the stems very well, so it's one of those things where you just have to kind of get your fingers on them and just kind of move your fingers back and forth with a little bit of pressure, and the seeds will generally fall off. And obviously it's going to take a while to do all of these seeds, but usually you want to do them when it's when they're dark enough, they're dry enough, they're drying or pretty much dried, and you might even be able to cut them like this and maybe let them sit for a day, and then you may be able to remove them from the stems even easier. A lot of them are falling off pretty easily, but some of them are still just a tiny bit green or holding on fairly well. So with that being said, that's the process for celery seed. I'm debating if I'm going to let this celery seed just dry for another day out of the, off of the plant and everything, and then I may harvest some more seed and see if it comes off a little bit easier, because like this one for example right there, that one has a tiny bit of green left in it, and they don't want to separate very well. So the vast majority of it is pretty dark seed and drying out pretty good, but some of it is not. And normally once I do a bunch of this on the table, I just save some containers, whether it's cottage cheese containers or ricotta cheese, or stuff around this size works really well for collecting seed. I also a lot of times will grow tomato plants in that size, or once they get to a little bit bigger size, that's also a perfect size to transplant into if they're not ready to go into the garden yet. So anyhow, that is the process for getting your celery seed, and I may do another quick video that will show you once I've harvested a lot of it. But I mean, you can see there's a lot here, so the more dry it is, the better. But you do have a little bit of green, and with these plants that are still getting water, they won't dry out as fast as they will now that I clip them. So anyhow, that's collecting celery seed. This is heirloom celery seed. This variety is Utah tall celery, and you saw that whole patch it came out of. That is because these seeds are so tiny and so fine that it kind of seeds itself. Even if you were to collect nearly all the seed, you're going to lose some seed. It's going to end up in the ground, and you're going to have a whole patch of celery come up the next year. And I let that patch go because I was more or less thinking I can get a pretty good amount of seed out of it, and then I can till the rest of that bed under and prep it for other stuff. And I'm sure I'll have more celery pop up, but I could always manage to let it just pop up in one particular area of the bed and leave it there, and then plant other stuff in other areas of the bed. So anyhow, thanks for watching.